craft beer ដែលយើងញ៉ាំយើងមិនដឹងច្រើនពីវាទេតែអ្នកដឹងទេថាប្រជាជនអាមេរិករស់នៅយ៉ាងឆ្ងាយបំផុតត្រឹមតែ16គីឡូម៉ែត្រប៉ុណ្ណោះពីកន្លែងធ្វើ craft beer ហើយនៅប្រទេសប៉េរូកាលពីសម័យបុរាណអ្នកធ្វើ craft beer ដំបូងគេបង្អស់គឺសុទ្ធតែជាមនុស្សស្រីវាមានការពេញនិយមណាស់ជាពិសេសនៅប៉ែកអឺរ៉ុបតើ craft beer គឺជាអ្វីហើយហេតុអ្វីបានជា craft beer ពេញនិយមម្ល៉េះ So let's dive into craft beer 101 Kiriso yogurt be real be true be you ឥឡូវនេះយើងនឹងទៅជួប Alicia គាត់នឹងនាំយើងទៅជួបអ្នកធ្វើ craft beer នៅទីក្រុងភ្នំពេញ
Can you tell me a bit about craft beer? Like, what is craft beer, and like, what makes it different to regular beer that you can just get on the shelf?
Sure. There's, the biggest difference here is the way we produce it. In this sense, we're going back to the roots. We're talking about introducing different types of flavors. Like nowadays, you go to the store, it's like you're going to pick something that everybody, is selling for, a very cheap price, or you might spend a little bit more for something that's a little bit more unique, a little more thought of. You understand that people are taking care and trying to do something, and because of that, that's what we're allowed to do in this industry.
What are these?
Malt, which is basically a version that's converted barley or wheat or rye to make the sugars more accessible, and this is a different type of malting process. So you have I'd say maybe on the right side for us, the lighter malts, and then as we get further into the darker side, it's basically longer time that it's been in the bake. And the last one over here on the green is hops. Hops is a plant that we've been using for a couple hundred years. It just recently came to the picture, and going back what I was mentioning 10,000 years ago, they didn't know what was going on. They saw this bubbly, yellowish, weird, muddy looking thing fermenting, not knowing that was happening. I can only imagine these guys coming back from like a hunt and just like, who's gonna drink that first? We started using it because they were really good at protecting the beer. Based on the amount of it, we've created different styles as the IPA. IPA is India Pale Ale. American Pale Ale is a different version based on the location of where the hops came from. And it's a bittering unit. So it's something that allows the sweetness to balance with the bitterness. So you have basically an easy, at the end of the day, you're always trying to find balance, right? I've understood that Cambodians or the Kamai have a very sweet palate. In this sense, I mean that their reference is a sweet beverage in this sense. And for me, understanding that dynamic when it comes to the market, I've noticed that the particular beer we have, it's called the Kamai Honey Blonde, or KHB. It's one of our best sellers. And the reason why is because, of course, it's locally sourced honey. A Belgian blonde is easy to drink, light but sweet beer, crisp, clean, really refreshing. So it's not like a heavy, you can drink many of them, and you can just keep cheersing and going on through the night, All right, come on, let's go check out the brewery. Check it out.
Let's go.
This is called the hot side. So basically what you're doing in these 3 tanks, you're extracting the sugar using a certain temperature and pH, which is basically letting enzymes break down a big long sugar into simple short sugars for the yeast to eat. The next one is filtering. So you're removing all those grains from the liquid, and then at the end of this process, you're turning it into a hot, sterile product. And that way we're gonna cool it later on, and I'll show you the next step. As we get away from the hot side of the fermentation process, fermentation and then brightening. Between the 2 processes, what you're doing in this is basically for about 15 days, you're having a very reactive action that's taking place where the yeast are using those sugars that we extracted, and we're making CO2, carbon dioxide. Transitioning from the 15 days here, we're gonna move it into basically the cleaning and the brightening, adding the carbonation. So 5 days in this side, under pressure and cooler temperature. It's gonna clean up the beer, make it nice and bright. How about we go and grab a beer now that we've been talking about it for a while?
That's it. So I'm not really a craft beer drinker, so what am I looking for in craft beer?
So to start, depending on what this is going to be for you, flavor, right? Like you want to find something that appeals to you. So, my first thing would be is to look for something that you like. If you're a person that likes sweet flavors, then look for sweet beer. If you're a person that doesn't like sweet flavor, don't look for sweet beer. Again, taste. What is it that you want to taste? You know?
Yeah. Vậyដែលប្លែកនៅកន្លែងនេះពីកន្លែងផ្សេងគឺគេធ្វើ equipment ខ្លួនឯងដូចជា tap ហើយ bottling So what is this?
Well, this is our DIY bottling system. Originally we were doing bottles one by one. It was becoming very difficult, very time consuming. And so we've built this system to be able to fill up to 6 bottles at one time. It's completely made with all local materials, well, mostly local materials, but the reason we do this is because it's much cheaper, and when something breaks, we can fix it ourselves instead of buying something from outside the country, importing it, and then having to bring a repairman from the manufacturer to help us fix and set everything up.
So what kind of types of beer do you produce here?
We produce everything from lagers to pale ales, big heavy IPAs, sour beers, seltzers, sweet ginger beers. Well, not sweet, it's pretty dry, but we produce a ginger beer. So we try to have an entire lineup that, you know, represents the whole spectrum, from light with almost no flavor to big, heavy to sour to sweet. So we try to hit the whole spectrum of beers.
Which one is your most popular?
The most popular is the Citra Pale Ale.
Citra Pale
And then coming in next is the IPA.
Nice, thanks. Tyler, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Sudah yang Lisa,ខ្ញុំឈ្មោះ Dore ខ្ញុំមកពី Edit Cambodian Craft Beer ហើយក៏ជា brewer មួយនៅក្នុង Edit ដែរហើយក៏ជា beer lover ដែរ
ហើយបងធ្វើ craft beer ប៉ុន្មានឆ្នាំហើយ
សម្រាប់ខ្ញុំធ្វើ home brew ខ្លួនឯងជិត3ឆ្នាំដែរ
ហើយមាន ingredient អីដែលសំខាន់ជាងគេ
អញ្ចឹង ingredient ដែលសំខាន់ជាងគេគឺមាន 14 ទេយើងមានទឹកយើងមាន yeast ហើយយើងមានស្រូវសាលីហើយនឹងយើងមានផ្កាហប់ អញ្ចឹងទាំង 4 មុខហ្នឹងបូកចូលគ្នាទៅវាបានទៅជាស្រាបៀរមួយដ៏ឆ្ងាញ់ក៏ប៉ុន្តែក៏យើងអាចបន្ថែមនៅក្នុងហ្នឹងនៅប្រភេទជាប្រភេទផ្លែឈើដូចជាប្រភេទផ្លែប៉ោមប្រភេទផ្លែស្វាយប្រភេទផ្លែ passion ទៅតាមអ្វីដែលជា brewer ហ្នឹងគាត់ចង់បានគឺខ្ញុំចង់ឲ្យវិស័យ craft beer នៅក្នុងស្រុកខ្មែររបស់យើងហ្នឹងវា grow ដូចនៅក្នុងប្រទេសនៅក្នុងតំបន់អញ្ចឹង ពីព្រោះយើងចង់ឲ្យជំរើសទៅអតិថិជននៅថាអេនៅស្រុកខ្មែរយើងក៏មាន good craft beer ដែរហើយបងធ្វើមិនប្រភេទដែរយើងមាន 4 flavor យើងមាន 4 រសជាតិទី1យើងមាន mango IPA ចម្រាញ់ចេញពីស្រូវសាលីសុទ្ធហើយយើងយក aroma របស់វាចេញមកពីផ្លែ mango ស្វាយកែវរមៀបទី2យើងមាន ចំប៉ី coach the coach style from the មកពីអាល្លឺម៉ង់ក៏ប៉ុន្តែយើងប្រើ Saint Japanese flower ឬផ្កាចាប៉ី as a spice to get the aroma and then number 3 លេខ3យើងមាន pale ale ហើយយើងឲ្យឈ្មោះគាត់ជាភ្នំពេញ pale ale ដោយសារថាយើងព្រោះនៅភ្នំពេញយើងចង់បាន style មួយដែលជាលក្ខណៈរបស់យើងដែរជាមួយហើយថ្ងៃណាចង់ធ្វើ home brew ដែរប្រាប់ខ្ញុំហើយចាំខ្ញុំ provide ingredient ឲ្យអរគុណច្រើនបង
ថ្ងៃនេះយើងបានដឹងពី Art of Craft Beer ហើយសង្ឃឹមថាអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នា enjoy វីដេអូមួយនេះសូមអរគុណ Kirisu Yogurt Be real be true be you ហើយកុំភ្លេច check out my Instagram see you guys next time
Kirisu Yogurt Be real be true be you